Pod in the City is a Sex in the City podcast and thus contains adult themes and explicit content. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Pod in the City. I'm Amanda.
And I'm John.
We're two besties who bonded over Sex in the City in college.
And now, 20 years later, we're reliving it like it's our very first time. Season 3, episode 15. Hot Child in the City. 34-year-old Miranda feels like a teenager again when her dentist gives her braces. Samantha is jealous of a 13-year-old super rich client who seems to have skipped the teenage years altogether. Carrie's gorgeous younger boyfriend, Wade Superboy Adams, is a comic shop clerk. That's the recap here. But let's also not forget that
so much more than that, though.
We find out that Trey's been jacking it to jugs.
This is such a good story. Okay, first of all, this is
a nice ass too.
He does have a really nice ass. This is a great episode. Like, everyone remembers this episode, especially potheads. Now, again, for any younger listeners here, potheads in the 2000s when this was out, like, it was like underground shit.
Well, it was illegal.
It was illegal.
You know, people probably watch kids watch this nowadays and are like, oh yeah, they're just smoking weed. Like, that's whatever. It was full on illegal. So the idea of pulling it out of your drawer was very much like.
And I always remember the amount that he has in that bag is, I'm like, that is so much. Like, that would have been like $200.
It also in the bag is not, it's like all pulled through. It's like shake. Yeah,
it's too shaky. I know.
Oh my
I
God,
always clocking that. I'm like, that's not what that would look like, though. Maybe I think more.
Like, when someone asks me what my favorite episode of Sex in the City is, I don't know. I just always say this one. I don't know that I would say it's not as good as Amanda's favorite, Running with Scissors. That is a very good episode of like television.
Yes.
There's something about this episode, though. I love Carrie in it. Carrie is actually likable. She's funny. And she's just like you know what I like about it? I like seeing Carrie be young and effervescent instead of being with some old dude or like with Aiden. Like, you know, I like to see like a little bit of, she's young and fun still. Why not? I love that. She
has a lot more fun in a relationship. And I can relate to this when you have a little bit more of like an upper hand, or when there's not a huge power dynamic shift where this man, and I think I've realized that too in my dating life, is I just don't think I have any desire to date, not have sex with, but date a really well-established guy that's just like very, like I could never date a big, because I would just feel really out of my element and like I was hanging out with an adult. And I don't like that feeling. This is like more Carrie's story in this. I'm like, this is my jam.
Yeah, maybe that is also it. I feel like I can relate more to this storyline than I can to the dating a super amazingly well-off, you know.
Yeah.
Businessman. I also really like when they're eating the fried chicken on the freaking patio. I love it. All of it hilarious and good. Guys, can you let us know?
Watching this as a 42-year-old, I was like, I could just still do this. I do this. This is how I spent my weekend. It's just like a bunch of takeout food and just like hanging out, smoking pot, watching movies.
Doesn't seem that bad. And surprisingly, not surprisingly, you know, with the way that world economies are currently being tanked by one asshole, just saying, people are going to have to move back in with their parents. We're going to have to destigmatize living with your parents.
Yeah, actually, I think rewatching this nowadays I'm like, okay, I get it. I'm like, I would live with my parents too if that was my situation. It makes complete sense why he's living with his parents. If he had his own apartment, I'd be like, why do you have your own apartment when you could live with them?
Their place is way nicer than anywhere he could ever be. And he has a comic shop that I guess, like, I would be like, cool. I'd be down.
Yeah. Sorry, I honestly I would not have a problem with dating someone who lived with his parent. Where this episode takes a turn and I'd be like, well, I can't date you, is when she calls the house. That's when I'm not fucking with this. I don't care what your living situation is at all. In fact, like with Rob, when he lived with those guys in that farmhouse, that worked out great for me because like I never had to go there and I was never expected to go there. But when the mom starts calling my house, no.
Okay, but nowadays that wouldn't happen because she would just text him.
True.
Like, did you give the dog the medicine? And he could say yes. That would be it.
Right.
There are a lot of complications in this episode. This episode, interestingly, has aged poorly because of all of these different things. Because things would be different now.
They're a lot more judgmental about this situation. Like here, I look at this man and I'm like, he's hot, he's fun, and he has a job, and he has aspirations, and he's incredibly talented at what he does. If someone drew me that picture, I'd be like, you should be famous.
Exactly.
You can draw like this off of just a memory of meeting me for 5 minutes.
I also loved that he had a fucked up tooth. As someone who has who does not have perfect teeth, he had one fucked up tooth. And you know what? I miss that. I miss the days of people just having their teeth instead of veneers. Guys, if you're interested in listening to some other Jones moans, etc., there's a few things that you can do. Every week on Wednesday, we do a live, honey, on YouTube at noon Mountain Standard Time. Google what that is for you, babe, and check us out because our lives are really fun. You know what you can also do is ignore work, jump in the live, chitty chat. We got people in there. We got reggies who are there doing their thing. And every week we love to talk about salacious bullshit. Last week, all about how Chapel Roan hates mothers. Anyway,
this week, what's it gonna be? It's gonna be
Kenya Moore was scandalous this week on Real Housewives of Atlanta, and it was also the finale of White Lotus. And unfortunately, there was never an extra part to the recollection. I was thinking they
didn't follow the rule of threes. I want to see a third jack-off scene, really.
Well, I was expecting one of them to get topped. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that would have been ideal, honestly.
Guys, just saying. And if you're interested to know what we're talking about, check out our weekly roundup. And what you should also do is if you're watching us on YouTube, hit subscribe, hit like, leave us a little comment down in the bottom. And if you're just listening to us places too, you can subscribe to us on all those and leave us a 5-star review. Please don't leave anything worse or else I will spiral out. And the way the world is right now, I don't need to spiral out anymore, okay? Help support me.
On our Patreon, we just covered Golden Girls, The Truth Will Out, where Rosa's bitch-ass daughter comes in and gets mad that her mom is spending Charlie's money that isn't fucking hers.
If you guys are interested in supporting small businesses and shit, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/podinthecity. Over there, it's $6 a month, and you get an extra episode every single week. This week, like we said, it's Golden Girls. Last week was our Mailbag episode, and the week before that was our Pillow Talk episode. So we have a lot of fun over there. It veers off a little bit from here, but if you like our voices and you don't think we're too annoying and you realize that we both cancel each other out with our annoyingness, please check us out on patreon.com/pod-and-the-city.
One last thing, please leave us a voicemail because we do a mailbag every month and it's in the show notes down there. Click on it, leave us a voicemail. It could be anything, any question, concern, comment, conversation you'd like to hear us, or you can email us at patcpod@gmail.com if you want to write in a question. You can leave it in various. Write us a question anywhere you like. We'll pull it, we'll screenshot it, and answer it. Let's get into this episode. All right. Hot child in the city. Carrie's a little annoying here, but she's like, oh my God, how do you even have this? It's like,
I was kind of annoyed by that too. She's like, oh my God, a record?
It actually came across as a little condescending. Like, how old is he? Like 3 years younger than her? And like, he doesn't know, like.
Oh, you thought that was what? Oh, okay.
It came across a little condescending.
I thought this episort really also sticks out to me though, because Kat Denning is in it and she plays the girl.
Great. She's so good. All right, let's start this. They say if you live in New York for 10 years, you can officially call yourself a New Yorker. But the trained eye can always spot the ones who were born here. And then it has Kat Dennings, who I guess, is she actually 13 here? She's turning 13, she says. But she goes, I want it all. I want it now. And I want you to get it for me. And it says Jenny Breyer has hired Samantha after firing 2 of her publicists or whatever. She's now hired Samantha to put on her bat mitzvah party. And so it's like, Jenny, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you? And Kat Dennings is like, duh, it's my bat mitzvah party. I'm 13. And what are you, like 45? And then Samantha like tries to end the meeting. She's like, I don't do kids parties. And Jenny's like, sweetie. And she's like, oh, a lot of people can't come, but we've invited a lot of people. Of course, the Clintons might not be able to make it. I think she mentions like Jay-Z. She mentions a couple problematic people that wouldn't be mentioned on our list today. But then she goes, like my daddy says, we'll be lucky if we can swing this for under $1 million. And then Samantha's like, we'll never get in sync. And then nicely, NSYNC is still relevant today. Is NSYNC sad now? Is it sad that the band is still together? It shouldn't be sad, but it kind of is sad.
They're not still together, but
well, they are. They're
still fucks everything up because he's a piece of shit. You know what I will say?
Him not being there. I'm sure that their dynamic is much more fun off stage with Justin not there.
Probably. I watched this movie called Cursed Friends. It was a made-for-TV movie, I think.
Cool.
It had Harvey Guillen, and it had Nicole Byer, and it had 2 other people who I didn't know who they were. But one of the storyline, the whole idea of this movie is like it's supposed to be like a horror comedy type thing where these kids play MASH, the game where you put like,
of course,
put who you're gonna marry, where you're gonna live, like all of that. And Nicole Byers is that she's gonna marry Joey Fatone is like what her end result ends up happening. And then in the movie, all that shit comes to fruition, like it starts happening. And Joey Fatone is in the movie, and I saw that coming. I was like, okay, Joey. I always thought Joey was cute.
Me too.
He was always like the fun one.
Yeah.
Plus, I think, I've always had a thing for like older.
Is he older?
Well, in the group, I think he presented more as older because didn't he have like facial hair and stuff too?
Yeah.
I also
was the old one in Backstreet Boys, I think. Wasn't Kevin kind of the old one?
You know what? I was just gonna say Kevin also look back, guys. That man is gorgeous. Kevin,
yeah, he is.
Backstreet Boys, fine as fuck. Now, the oldest one in 98 Degrees. Just kidding. All right.
I don't follow. I never did.
His name was Justin too.
Okay, well, there's like this famous scene here. We're at cafeteria in New York. And what I actually will say about this episode is it does a great job. First of all, it's called Hot Child in the City, but it does a really good job of continuously reminding you, and you can feel the how moist the air is and how humid. You can feel the humidity in this episode because she's constantly saying how hot it is. The characters keep commenting on it, but you can I feel like it must have been filmed in the summer in New York because they're outside. Yeah, you can just tell that it's hot. Oh God, it's disgusting in New York, and it smells so bad. But there's something about it that is also like kind of fun. But like when you get
with humidity,
skin smells like you just reek of the city. Anyway, they're at cafeteria, and Miranda sees like a cute boy, and they're like making eyes at each other. Carrie is like this would be almost friendship ending to me here because it's like, all right, now drop it. This is very White Lotus where the girls are like, you should fuck that guy. You should, and it's because you're the one single one here. This is very this.
Okay.
Because Carrie's like, oh my God. They're like, you should go talk to him. And then Miranda's trying to tell them about how she has TMJ. She's a tongue thruster. She had to try to diagnose her headache symptoms. And then Carrie's like not even listening. And Carrie's like, he's really cute. He's still looking at you. I'd be like, okay, like fucking enough. Are you done? So Carrie gets up. She writes a note. A fucking like tramp walks over to the guy and is like, my friend thinks you're cute. I'm like, you're flirting with him now. It seems like you want to fuck this guy.
Well, that is probably the situation. Carrie's like just not with Aiden now, and she's like, I can't be with someone yet.
Carrie's
but she's still wanting it.
That? She's the Sheena Shea of the group. By the way, I just entered in VPR. I just entered the Rob season. Like, I hope she's embarrassed about that nowadays.
I don't feel like she is. But you can like
really, really difficult to watch.
I feel like maybe she was acting.
No, honey. No, she was manic.
He thought he was in love with her and stuff, or she was just.
Well, I think if you want to diagnose it, it's like she got out of this marriage and she's traumatized by the whole thing, and instead of dealing with it, she decides to jump back into this relationship and like put way too much pressure on it.
The thing is, though, I'll say with her first marriage, she was the one who fucked it up herself.
Well, he was secretly doing drugs and drained her bank account. That's where I would leave.
You know what? I completely agree. But I also think that you aren't that unaware. Just saying.
Oh, I think she is, though. She's kind of dumb. But anyway, Sheena Dumb. Okay. I have like 4 jokes here right now. You never know because I have it under control so well. Okay. Carrie gives him this note and like, here's Miranda's number. Whatever. Carrie has nothing to do today, so she's walking down the street in her heels, and since she has nothing else to do, she decides to stop into St. Mark's Comics, which used to be her shoe repair guy. And I've always thought this interaction was so weird and annoying, where she's standing there and she's like, I feel like only really gorgeous girls could get away with this.
Oh, for sure.
What happened to what's his name?
Polly or something?
Sure, she says his name. And the guy, Wade's like, who? And Miranda's like, my guy, my shoe guy. And she like grabs the back of her heel as if like this guy's a fucking idiot and doesn't understand what she's trying to say.
And see, if I saw a person like this, even if they were hot, I'd be like, are you dim? What's going on?
Yeah, I'd be like, what's wrong? Do you need some water? It's hot out. So yeah, she asks where he is. And then Artie, his name is Artie. And then Wade, this is hilarious. Wade goes, he had to move back to Williamsburg because he couldn't afford the rent here once they destabilized it. So the idea is he had to move back to Williamsburg, which is now like trendy AF. But they're saying this like, he's in Brooklyn, in Williamsburg, no less. He had to move back to that shithole.
Well, Brooklyn was a piece of shit back in the day.
I guess it was. When we moved to New York, like it was not even an option to move to Brooklyn. Like, like I guess if we can't find anywhere, we'll look in Brooklyn.
Yeah,
but now
it was like still not as, I mean, all I can think about is Roni with freaking Alex, where they dogged her out for her home in Brooklyn.
Yeah. Oh my God, Alex and Simon, they are insufferable. They are one of my
favorite Real Housewives couples ever.
I think they have a healthy relationship, but you'd want to hang out with them as friends? You'd want them like in a group? You'd want her to bring Simon to a girls? I'd get Ramona in that scene.
The problem is Simon's not hot enough that like that is the only time I will give you like allow you as if like.
But also then he has to zip the lip while he's
cute
there.
Enough, it looks.
Like he's not allowed to talk though.
Yeah, don't talk too much. I can talk to you, or you can like make me feel special, but that's it. I don't want to hear your opinion about things.
No. Don't try to crack a joke because all of us are funnier than you. Wade shows her his comic book, Power Lad. And these boys are checking Carrie out. And she's like, what's going on? He's like, those boys back there. To them, you are Wonder Woman. And she's like, again, I'm like, these boys have seen a hot girl before. They're also,
though, this is such a foreign feeling, the idea of being like a sex object to anyone. I mean, you've probably had this feeling because you're a woman. And I mean, I have had the feeling, but I don't get the feeling of being out in public and like feeling like anyone's like, ooh. Oh.
Right. Oh, lusting after you. Well, anyway, later that week, Carrie, this is one of my favorite looks on Carrie, and she's only wearing it for like 2 seconds here. She's wearing a little short booty shorts that are like white, and then a halter tank top that's blue and red with like red cherries on it. And her hair is like all like floofy. And she
Okay.
like, is answering she gets her mail. I don't know where this guy got her
Oh,
address, but
yeah.
now I think she must have just said her name, and like phone books still existed back then. So he probably just looked up Carrie Bradshaw and her address and phone number came up. And he sent her a piece of mail, which was a comic of herself, a drawing that says, I need to call Power Lad. And she looks beautiful in the picture. Like it's not like a caricature. And it's like impressively amazing.
That would literally melt. I would be like jizzing everywhere.
For
Pardon my French.
So now, meanwhile, Charlotte's at home. She's looking up
how to get her husband erect.
Yeah,
Jesus.
she finds a hydraulic.
I did think it was strange this entire episode how she is completely separate from the ladies, really.
Yeah, but you got it. I mean, this is an important.
That's married life.
I mean, yeah, true. Because even at the end when they're smoking pot, she doesn't there, which is sad because she needs. Like, girl, smoke some pot.
What she really needs is to get fucked by
an that's rewatching this now. I am more and more incensed with every episode that he is not allowing her to address this major problem that is not her. She's being as polite as possible. She's doing all the work. And what his solution is, I guess that's that. We still love each other, right?
All I'm going to say is if this were my man, and what ended up happening is, spoiler alert, guys, she discovers him jacking it in the bathroom looking at porno.
Oh,
I would
fight. That would happen.
I think I would I'd pull a Lorena Bobbitt situation. I'd be like, oh, you can't get it hard for me, but you can get it hard for a fucking magazine. Oh no.
So you are a sexual person. Yeah, all of this stuff.
I would lose.
Also, if you think of it, annulment, like one major reason that you are allowed to get an annulment is if you haven't had sex, because even the law from millions of years ago or whenever that was created,
you gotta consummate
they acknowledge like sex is an important part of a marriage.
I just wouldn't have made it as far as she's made it at all, because let's not forget a couple episodes when she's about to walk down the aisle, she admits that he can't get it up. He can't get it up.
He says it happens sometimes. So anyway, Charlotte finds a hydraulic implant for Trey's dick. Now, is this real?
I think it is.
I also, if I were Trey, I'd be like, I'm not getting that. Like, that's crazy. Would you? If you couldn't get it
Would I get it?
Yeah, would you get a hydraulic implant in your dick?
Well, fortunately for me, I don't have.
You're rock hard right now.
And I don't have erectile dysfunction. But I don't know. But also, how old is Trey? I think he's about our age. Like
40?
He's 40,
yeah, he's
so
40.
I don't know. I don't know what it's like to have erectile dysfunction at 40. So maybe. But also, I don't know what I'd do. I don't know. Because it is a question of like, how are you going to be with someone if you can't even get your dick hard?
And it's more just that he's not acknowledging it, and he's making her feel like a nagging bitch about it. Like she's scared to talk to him about it, and that bothers me.
It's not good.
It's not good. Okay, so now Carrie and Wade are out in an arcade, and again, I'm like, this is a fun date.
This is also another reason why I think I like this episode. It's just like fun.
I'm so glad you agree with me on this, because I was like, oh, this is kind of my actual life right now. I'm like, I hope that John isn't like, this fucking man needs to move out. Like, but I guess we're both single and childless. So
here's my feeling is if he's gonna move out, we can move in together. I mean, like
that isn't an option though for me.
At okay. Well, yeah. You're for Amanda. I mean, anyway, yes, keep going. Now, trust me, I'm sure if I met a guy and he was like, I live with my parents, I'd be like, no thanks. But this guy is hot. He has a comic book shop. His parents is like, if I met a guy and he's like, oh, I live with my parents and they live in a mansion on Camelback Mountain, I'd be like, okay. Great.
Like I wouldn't even have a second thought about it, honestly. As long as the dynamic, as long as it wasn't like a weird mother-son dynamic, like I had with Radu. Like, I mean, it's a major problem. But I don't even know. They also don't develop this woman enough. Like, I can't tell if she is overbearing and annoying or if she's just like nice.
I think she's just a mother who doesn't want her son smoking weed at her house. And that's where I wonder, what I would say is a guy this age living with his parents, I could get over that part, but it does raise other questions of like, well, are you living with them because you have no money? And, I don't think it's terrible to not have any money, but like, why don't you have any money? Is it that you struggle to keep a job? Is that you're really bad financially?
But even that wouldn't bother me nowadays either, because jobs are so impossible. Like, that wouldn't, as the standards right now is, do you have a job and can you function as an adult in society? I'm thrilled to meet someone like that.
They never really explain why he lives with his parents here.
Well, she says that he put all of his money into buying the comic book store, which also makes sense.
Then actually I would have, that actually does change everything too for me, because I would be like, whatever. Like, you were trying to make a business. You're trying to do, it's not like he's just living at his parents and not working or not doing anything.
Right.
And they live in New York City, which is different than living.
That's another good point. Like, you know how hard it is to just get an apartment because of all the credit checks and the broker fees and just all of that shit. It's impossible.
And honestly, he'd probably end up having to live with roommates anyway. And
sure.
Who knows? If he was disgusting, we'd probably be like, what a terrible.
No, really, honestly, I'd rather him live with his parents than Steve living in that like janitor's closet.
1,000% agree. I would find him living with his parents way hotter. No, if I showed up at let's rewind. If I showed up at Steve's apartment and it was like that, I would not go in, and I'd be like, I'm really sorry, I can't do this. It would just
not. I would have Miranda it and be like, well, we're always going to be at my house then.
That thing was on another level, though.
Yeah,
it's like that movie. Do you remember? It was called Joe's Apartment, I think.
Yeah, with the
cockroaches.
Yeah, it was like that. It was literally like that, with like leaking faucets. It's like Steve's apartment was like Alex Borstein's apartment in Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. It's like a Murphy bed. Okay, you would find it very annoying.
It reminds me a lot of like the orphanage that Annie was in.
Which Annie?
Well, definitely not the newest one.
I was looking at a TikTok, have we talked about this? Where like people were like, there's a generational gap now where some people grew up with Kathy Bates as Miss Hannigan, and that's like their Miss Hannigan. But then everyone else in the movie but the other parts of the movie is Alan Cumming as Rooster and Kristen Chenoweth, which are pretty lateral. Like, that's a pretty stacked cast.
I think that the Annie remake is pretty good. That one. Now, I'm more concerned for the generation whose Miss Hannigan is Cameron Diaz.
Yeah, but that's not even canon, that Annie. There's a scene where Jamie Foxx takes her up in a helicopter and sings a song about New York City.
I was in the old Annie when she's climbing on that thing and Punjab has to save her.
I met that guy. He saw me on a show in New York and he told me I had one of the most beautiful voices he's ever heard. And then he died right after that.
You cursed him.
I know.
Oh my God, it's terrible to laugh at someone dying. Oh my God. Okay.
Punjab. We could relate to that. What the fuck was that?
That literally has nothing to do with the stage version of Annie in the slightest, does it?
No, because when I was in Annie as an 11-year-old, and when we got to the first rehearsal, we did a read through, and immediately after, the director is like, now for anyone wondering, there is no helicopter, and all of the kids were like, because like all you could tell as we're reading through it, there's no stakes in the Annie musical, by the way. There's no stakes. They don't even take her with them. They find out that they're scamming, and then they're like, here's your check. And then Rooster's like, pay to the order of Rooster Hannigan. And they're like, read it again. And he's like, pay to the order of The Jig Is Up. They take him away.
They also have like the whole Herbert Hoover bullshit.
Yeah, there's some good songs in that show actually that get cut. That song would be relevant today, honestly. About, we voted for you because we thought you'd make us rich and now we're all homeless.
Well, that's unfortunate because I think only stupid people voted for someone thinking they'd get rich.
There's also a scene in Annie where like Annie attends like a Congress meeting and she stands on a table and all of them sing tomorrow, including is it Roosevelt? Whoever's in the wheelchair. Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Whoa. Whoa.
Really weird show. Okay. Carrie, what am I getting at? Charlotte, what are you getting at? Okay, sorry. We're at the arcade, the end. They're having a fun date. Over to Charlotte and Trey.
They get on the Razor scooter.
That's not happened yet, Joan. I got this shit on lockdown.
Okay.
Yeah, Charlotte and Trey, back to them. Okay. He's still not fucking acknowledging this shit. And she's like, how was your day? Oh, no. He goes, how was your day? And she's sitting in bed and she has her magazine open with like a printout hidden in it of like the hydraulic dick. And he's like, how was your day? And she's like, the line reading is very funny how she does this. She's like, well, I went to the gallery in the morning and the framers in the afternoon. And then I found this. And she just like passes him the printout of the hydraulic dick. And he's like, Charlotte, what are you getting at? What am I fucking getting at? Your dick don't work. Like at a certain point, you have to stop being polite. Like, are you kidding me? Now,
this is just not in my.
I'm just so incensed with Trey. I was never annoyed with Trey when I watched this in my 20s, but now I'm so irritated for Charlotte.
I find him so annoying with all his bullshit, but he is hot.
He's so hot, especially in the episode coming up where they're like playing tennis. He finds out that she like kissed someone else and he's like playing tennis and he's like, they did that on purpose. They're like, let's make sure that the moonlight is hitting and he's sweating.
Oh yeah. I love that is one of my favorite things in a movie or TV or whatever. Glistening man skin with the sun just shining.
I don't lust after men like that, but even like I remember that is a formative moment is watching Trey play tennis with his shirt off in the moonlight.
And the problem here, and I think ultimately what they're teaching and telling, guys, lock in right now, real lessons of Sex in the City, is that while you may appear perfect and wonderful and sexy as fuck on the outside, like I would think from appearances and his playing tennis and the way his body is and all of that, I'd be like, this man can fuck.
Yeah.
And then it shows you like, well, actually, nope. And Charlotte's life, I will go back to it. I've said it before on here before. I've said it on here before. What the fuck? I think Charlotte's overall story arc and everything is probably my favorite of Sex in the City because
then to end up with Harry.
Yeah, the idea of that she always thought, it's this idea of like that what you think you want isn't what you want, or like that, what's best, So and everyone can stick to that.
Agreed. Carrie scooting in heels. This is the famous part. She's with Wade. They leave the arcade. He has a Razor scooter and he's like, jump on it. And she's like, ooh, I'm scooting in heels. And then he's like, let's go back to my place. I have a great view. And so they're up on his balcony.
Terrace.
And she's like, you said you had a view, not the view. And she's like, the air even feels different up here, which you can feel it when she says that. And now the mom comes in and she's like, wait. Anyway, she's like, hello, Mrs. Adams. And now it smash cuts to Samantha. That's one of my favorite Samantha lines. She's like, it's just Samantha and Carrie. She goes, he lives with his parents? Not sexy, honey. Dump him immediately. Here, use my cell phone. Which is such a funny way, because you'd never say cell phone nowadays. Like, this is the early days of cell phones. So it's Samantha saying, use my cell phone. And
this definitely feels like something I would tell a friend.
For sure. That's why I'm surprised that you're taking this stance. And he's saving up for his own place, and he put all his money into the comic book store. So now Miranda arrives and she has a bracelet and she's like, am I hideous? And then Carrie's like, they don't look so bad. And Miranda's like, really? And Carrie goes, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Very funny. Champagne now arrives, courtesy of Jenny Breyer. And Samantha's,
13-year-old.
13-year-old Jenny Breyer. And Samantha's like, who is this girl? When I was 13, I wasn't drinking champagne. I was serving dilly bars at the Dairy Queen, which was also my first job, as well as Justine and Erica's. All of us first job, Dairy Queen. They enjoyed it. I didn't, because everyone obviously hated me, and I was the social pariah of the group.
You know, have you ever thought that when you're always hated,
that what? My personality sucks?
I'll see myself out.
So like, my personality sucks. I'm aware. No. Except sometimes no. Sometimes I'll get into a job and everyone fucking loves me. It's like a fascinating thing.
For like 6 months, and then a new manager comes along, and then
or something will throw off the vibe, and then all of a sudden, oh, this bitch sucks.
Like you're too real one day. I know that feeling. You tell someone a little too much, and you're like, ugh.
I've also never had like a job for longer than like a couple months, so like with other people, because I was an actress.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then like I worked at restaurants. I always got along with people there. I was drinking the whole time. A lot of cocaine in the restaurants too. Okay, so the girls, Jenny Breyer and her two friends, approach the table. They're like, "Oh my god, we didn't know that you know Carrie Bradshaw. You are so fucking fabulous." And now their outfits.
Jenny is full on like your column about secret sex. That's my life. Like when I'm trying to fuck my ex, he would want to fuck all the time behind closed doors, but then like at school in the hallway, he'd be like, I'm invisible.
Yeah, and then our friend with the braces is like, and they're all like that. None suck. It's very funny. And Miranda's like, oh, you have braces too. And she's like, are yours made of whatever? And she's like, no.
Are they blue? Sapphire. She's like, they're sapphire.
Yeah. Oh my god, you have the old school, the old fashioned kind. I didn't even know they made those anymore. And then Jenny's like, oh, Samantha, you have all my shit together for the bat mitzvah, blah, blah, blah. And then they leave, and she's like, you are so fucking fabulous to Carrie. And Carrie's like, oh my God, they're 13, but they sound and they dress. And Samantha's like, I know, just like us. And I'm like, except no, you all don't talk like that. And Carrie certainly doesn't talk like that. Carrie's basically a fucking Hutterite walking around here. You're not allowed to say anything about sex in front of Carrie, but sure. Carrie's now writing. And the question is, are we 34 going on 13? Miranda now is out with Lance Bloom, who is the guy that was making eyes at her at cafeteria. This is insane on Miranda's part, that like she has this date lined up and she immediately gets braces on beforehand. It's like, at that point, you gotta tell him, right? Like, oh, by the way, the life decision.
The more insane thing is that at this restaurant, she's decided to order olive tapenade and then eat it, and like, olive tapenade, that is like, if in case y'all don't know, that's like mashed up like black olives. So like her teeth, she eats the shit. Her teeth are just like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Good. Olive
Miranda, what?
Yeah. And also, I would actually be very endeared to this guy, because she's like, I'm so sorry. Because he's like, oh, you have something in your braces. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then she goes to kind of wipe it off, but then she like picks up the knife to look at herself. And her face is so funny because she's just horrified, because it is really bad. And he goes, so what's it like to kiss somebody with those things? And she's like, they say that it's not going to be an issue. And then he goes, but I bet blowjobs are out of the question, huh? And then she gets super offended. But that, I would have appreciated that joke, because at least it's putting it out there, and he was being lighthearted, and it was like, well, he's funny.
Here's where I'll take this. I could take this two ways. Yes, that means he's still interested, right? But I cannot ever. Once I heard that story about those men who like diddled like a Komodo dragon or something until it died and all that, and the ones who like do that to like corpses and stuff, I just can't even look at like someone like a straight man desiring a woman as almost anything anymore. I'm like, well, they'd fuck a corpse.
Yeah, it's true.
Or a Komodo dragon. I mean, like, okay.
You know, men are the worst. Carrie and Miranda is now talking to Carrie, and they're eating ice cream, and Carrie goes, Carrie's like, maybe like, you know,
I love their outfits in this, by the way.
They look so good.
Miranda has like orange, like kind of capri tight.
Yeah, like kind of Thailand. Those like pants.
Yeah,
like
it's like
Thailand
a print.
pants.
And she's like in a white tank. And then Carrie is wearing a blue dress that looks almost like that.
It's a strappy, tank dress kind of.
It has fish print though, like it looks like that screensaver kind of, or like there's.
Oh yeah, sure it does. Yeah.
There's shower curtains that look like that.
Yeah, with the fish.
Blue with these bright fish on it. I like.
And then just flat sandals. Like she just looks very summer in New York. And they're eating ice cream. And she's like, I feel like it's like an after school special. And Carrie's like, yeah, but except in an after school special, you'd look across the cafeteria and he'd smile and he'd have braces too. And then Miranda's like, it's a bad double standard because I would never date someone with braces. And right. So then Carrie and Wade now are on his patio with a kiddie pool. I've always wondered what this is. Does that make it cooler around you if you're just sitting next to water?
I think it definitely makes you look cooler.
Okay, is that why?
I think that's the intention here, is
just
to look
like
cool.
Look like, oh, okay.
Like, oh, we're lounging on our thing. I mean, where would this kiddie pool even be? Like, where is this being stored when not in use?
Right, but they have it. And then Mrs. Adams is serving them.
They do look cool.
Yeah, this looks like a great day.
It does. I mean, so I do think it's weird that Carrie's just perfectly fine with his elderly-ish mother serving her all day.
Now I think of it this way: like, what if I was at your house, or you were or vice versa, you were at my house, and Kathy or Daphne was like bringing us snacks? I feel like it would be the exact. We'd be like, "Thank you, thanks, Mrs. Mom."
Yeah, but we're not dating.
Yeah, but why is that so different? We're still the same age, letting somebody else's parents like serve us.
I guess because he also lives there. Okay, I'm starting to teeter. I'm starting to not love the living.
She's too much into the business, to be honest. I don't need to see my significant other's parent at all, other than like a couple times a year for like holidays. I don't really need to even know you exist. To be honest.
I wouldn't be hanging out there while his mom is there.
No, this is the other thing. Why don't we hang out at Carrie's apartment? I know that like it's nicer at that apartment, but like we can fuck in my apartment.
This is what I'm saying. I'm not going to hang out at your apartment while your mother waits in the kitchen.
Well, she's home. Yeah, no, this would never. What? Also, they just started dating.
Exactly.
Okay.
Carrie though looks pretty fucking good here. I'm like, whoa, baby.
Now we have Charlotte and Trey at the therapist, and the therapist says to create non-threatening language to talk about sex. So that he asks them to name their body parts, and Charlotte renames her vagina Rebecca. And then they call Trey's, because he loves sailing, Schooner. And they go home, and Charlotte's like sharing a sexual fantasy where she's like a princess, and Princess Rebecca and Prince Schooner.
Which I gotta be honest here, I'm not turned on by Charlotte's like fantasy either. Her fantasy is like, I'm a princess.
You're rich.
And I'm riding on a unicorn. And I'm like, what are you, 4? Like,
yeah,
that's not hot.
What are you for? What am I doing here? Like, what am I supposed to do?
What, I want to fuck a princess on a unicorn?
Yeah,
no.
Right.
Ew.
Anyway, Trey can't do it. He's like, I'm just not able to do this. So Wade is now at Carrie's house, thank God. And the mom calls. Again, immediately, this is a deal breaker. But the mom calls Carrie's number to find out if Wade fed the dog medicine. But now here's the question. Are they presenting her as being overbearing? Is she just finding a reason to call? Or do you think that this was just like,
I actually don't think this is overbearing. I think what it's just showing is that like his life is intertwined with theirs more than him just living there. Because I mean, I don't think what she calls about is out of hand. I think it would be more out of hand if she calls and she's like, honey, I'm folding up your underwear right now and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a legitimate question. I mean, the question was like, honey, I want to make sure that you didn't give the dog its medicine before your dad gives it to her, because if I give it to it twice, it's not good. To me, that's a legitimate question.
It is. So that's what I'm asking. Like, but are they trying to present her as being overbearing?
I think it's just the idea that, like, I think it's more the idea that he is, it's not like he's just living in a room in his parents' house. He is involved in his parents' life. Like, they're intertwined in his life. Not necessarily that she's overbearing, because I think if she was overbearing, she'd show up at Carrie's apartment.
Yeah, true. Well, next we have Charlotte waking up in the middle of the night. She hears Trey in the bathroom making, I guess, like what she thinks are crying noises. And she walks in.
Trey's crying noises.
She walks in. She's very funny in this scene because she catches him jerking off. You see his butt, looks great. She looks at him.
This reminded me of the movie. This is where this photo is from.
So she looks at him like this, like shocked, but then it has her eyes follow down to the magazine that has dropped to the ground, and it's jugs. And her face.
The photo on the front is a woman holding her nipples with the hugest, just like the rest of the page is like these humongous tits.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'd be done. I'd be out. I'd be like, all right, you can give me my settlement. Fuck you, dude. You're a piece of shit. Like,
so now they're back at the therapist, and Trey says, well, it wasn't sexual, it was tension relief. And the therapist is like, I understand. And he's like, it helps me sleep. And then the therapist is like, look, like, that's interesting. Like that it has he goes, oh, it has nothing to do with my wife. And he's like, well, that's interesting you'd say that. And he's like, Charlotte, maybe you should see this as a good thing. He was jerking off to jugs. I mean, at least he isn't gay. So Miranda now yells, Miranda's at a meeting and her work, we tie up the storyline. She yells at a couple men in the meeting because they're kind of giggling to each other. And she's like, excuse me, gentlemen, is me having braces funny to you? And they're like, no, we're laughing at a typo on page 2. And she's like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
This gets immediately resolved is that next time Trey is jerking off, Charlotte has clipped out wedding pictures of herself in her veil and put it on the Jugs ladies. So it's like I'm there. So that's great. I said that's almost.
We spend the next 45 minutes deep diving about how this is awful.
Yeah, it's like she's enabling. She's giving him permission. Like it's like she's enabling him and saying like, okay, well, this is fine then.
Can you imagine? You're what, 2 months into your marriage, and you are having to paste your photo onto a porno photo in order for your husband to like come? Are you kidding me?
And here's the thing: is his argument is, oh, it's just tension relief. No, it isn't, because there are you're looking at naked women, so it is sexual, babe.
And if it was tension relief, why can't Charlotte be involved?
I'm like, yeah, here's what Charlotte should do is be like, well, why don't we watch porn, and then once you get hard, I'll like jump on top of it.
I'm wondering, I'm going to do a little diagnosis here. I wonder if Trey is wrapped up in this idea where his wife, Charlotte, and whatever, is this precious, this thing that is not like the idea of like fucking her is dirty to him. And so
they get into that. And Samantha says it's a Madonna whore thing.
Oh, like he thinks she's a whore then if he's gonna fuck her, basically.
No, he just sees her as like this, like, yeah, exactly. Like he doesn't.
If he did fuck her, he wants her to see her as this like angelic thing.
Exactly.
So yeah, the combination then with looking at these like what he would perceive as like whores in a magazine, I guess. Big titty hoes.
Now we're at the bat mitzvah. Samantha's working the door. That's pretty much it. Does that even get wrapped up? Not really.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We'll go back to it in a second. Okay, so Carrie is now at Wade's, and she's looking through his records, and she gets way too excited about sticks. I also love sticks, but he puts on.
Oh my God, you have this! so
how did you even get this? And it's like, oh, I went into a record store and I
store?
got a best of sticks. But he plays Hot Child in the City. Carrie's floored. And Wade, like, you know what's even better? He brings out this huge bag of weed that's clearly not
Like
weed. It's
3
like
ounces of weed.
Yeah, way too much. And they smoke out of a bottle bong. And this is always a trope in TV. It's like, you just would never... I feel like the writers don't understand how much weed smell sticks around. Like, you would never, if you live with your
Especially a bong.
Yeah, a bong?
Bongs stink.
Oh, just the bong being in your room stinks because it stinks.
Well, also the logic that, okay, he also says that this bong that is made out of a soda bottle, he made this at camp.
Yeah, like,
At
you
camp,
can buy
bowls.
Like, even when it was illegal, you could still go into a gas station and buy a glass pipe for $15.
But you're telling me this water bar soda bottle pipe you made is 20 years old?
Yeah, right, exactly.
I can't, sweetie. Wade, come on.
So they get stoned, and now we go to Samantha tying up her storyline. She hears at the bat mitzvah, she hears Jenny and her friends talking about sex. And Samantha's like, girls, you shouldn't even worry about boys right now, or at least not until you're 15 and you start having sex.
Okay, because actually the girls are like, you know what? I'm going to go backstage and fuck those NSYNC guys.
Yeah.
And the other one's like, yeah, well, I heard that a few of them are gay. And then the one's like, yeah, well, I'd fuck them and their gay boyfriends.
Right.
Like,
and Samantha's like, girls, like, you don't need to do that until you're 15 and start having sex. And Jenny's like, please, I've been giving blowjobs since I'm 12. And then it's like, Samantha realized that she had what these girls will never had, a childhood. All right.
Also, the girls are like, talk to the hand, grandma.
Yeah, talk to the hand, grandma. So Carrie and Wade are now stoned. They're eating fried chicken. Carrie like turns on the hose. They have a water fight and a chicken fight.
They also ordered. Like they've eaten 20 pieces of fried chicken.
Right, and they have 2 entire buckets. That's like $85. And I'm not
nowadays.
A bucket of chicken is $40.
It is?
It's with the meal, it's like $40.
It was a really long time before I ever ate dark meat chicken.
Oh, that's my favorite. What's your favorite chicken? Mine is a thigh.
It depends. I don't love when a chicken, like, I like a breast if it's that kind of chicken where it has the bones and stuff, because it's easier to get away from the bones. But I would eat a thigh if it's like deboned.
Oh, I like going.
I don't like the bones. I don't like bones.
All right. Well, Carrie,
they're fighting. But I don't like those bones.
They're fighting with the chicken and the hose, and then he's like, "Oh shit, that's my parent. My parents are home."
He's so like, "That looks like my parents' car," and then the parents get out, and he's like, "Fuck!"
So he's like, "Where the fuck is the weed?" Yeah. Oh yeah. She's like, if they see 1 million boxes of chicken, they're gonna know we were smoking the pot. Mom comes in and she's like, "Is that marijuana I smell?" She's like, because Wade's like, if my mom she says, if you ever caught me smoking pot in the house again, I'd be sleeping in a cot at the comic book store. So she's like, do I smell marijuana? And Wade's like, no. And she's like, then what's this? And she finds it and she's holding it. And Wade's like, Carrie brought it. And Carrie's face is like, oh, and it's like, oh my God, Super Lad would never do this to me. What were you going to say?
I like this part because this is in my memory. It's like the mom holding the thing. Carrie's like, and then it's voiceover in her. Yeah. She's like, and in that moment, I realized whatever.
There comes a time in everyone's life when you have to take responsibility for yourself at a time that you're able to stand up to to say to the rest of the world, I am a woman. And she goes, yes, Mrs. And Mrs. Adams goes, is that true, Carrie? Did you bring marijuana into this house? And Carrie goes, yes, Mrs. Adams. I brought the marijuana into the house. And I'm taking it with me as I leave. And she grabs it and it's like, hot child in the city.
I think that's what I've always loved too about this episode.
It's so good. It's just so like empowering. And then the needle drop. It's so perfect. And then it just has and then the song continues and it has Carrie, Miranda, and Samantha smoking. And it says, Carrie's voiceover is talking about how sometimes, no matter what, it's just good to have a childhood moment and realize that sometimes the good things in life is hanging out and laughing with your friends in your very own apartment. Hot child in the city.
Yeah, I miss those days when we'd like back at the 136, or we'd go in the bathroom and smoke the reefer.
I think if you and I lived in like a vicinity to each other, we would probably still be hanging out like that. We'd do that.
Probably.
Like, why not? If I was like, oh, you want to come over and like watch The Office or something, or whatever the fuck you watch. Vanderpump. Do you want to watch Vanderpump? A couple episodes of Vanderpump? Sit in our phones?
Let's see. Would that have? I don't know.
I think we could be couch friends. Don't you think we could? Like, if we lived in the same apartment complex and we were both in our house, I'm sure that we'd be like, do you want to, like, we could just hang out on our phones, throw on Vanderpump, and then I leave when I'm over it.
Yeah, my life would be very different if I lived in an apartment. I'm glad I don't. I'm not dogging anyone who does.
I more mean like if you lived in my townhouse.
Yeah, like if we were in the same neighborhood, like
let's go with
if I had a friend who lived like on the same street as me, I would be like, oh, let's do dinner tonight or something like that. Or
I would too. It'd be easy, like super easy. But we also spent, however many years doing that every day anyway. So it's our norm. All right, well, that's that episode. What's next episode, Joan?
Guys, what I want to say while Amanda's looking for our next
I'm logging into my new Max account. Me and Jody just blew all our money buying every subscription ad free.
We also figured out our YouTube.
Oh my God, we did.
I knew that would work. I knew it. Anyway,
well, it wasn't.
We love you guys. The things I want to make sure that you do. Make sure that you're subscribed and that you hit like and leave us a comment. I think if you've made it this far, babe, you can leave us a comment. A positive one, please. We're on our positivity streak, and we're in a time of supporting others. If you want to leave us anything less than a 5-star review, keep it to yourself. Because I will.
Okay, I know what the next episode is. Frenemies. Where Miranda's first date turns into a wake when the guy drops dead. And then it's the guy, she's dating Carrie's ex-boyfriend, who's like a huge asshole. He's the guy from Nurse Jackie. And Samantha meets that other Samantha woman who then gives that guy a blowjob under the table. Then at the end, Charlotte calls Samantha and she's like, well, he fucked me. Because her and Trey have sex at the end of the episode for like 20 seconds or something.
Well, guys, make sure that you're here next week. I know Amanda just gave you the full rundown, but make sure that you tune in for next week's episode.
I just remember it well.
Just skip next week. All right. Make sure that you're watching. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you check out our weekly roundup every Wednesday at noon, MST. Oh my gosh. And
check out our Patreon.
Patreon.com/podinthecity. You know what? If you don't even want to pay the $6, what you should do, go to patreon.com/podinthecity, sign up for free, and you can listen to previews of every episode. Maybe just listen to a 5-minute preview.
And I think they offer like first month discounts for like pretty much every free member. You'll get like an email at some point after you sign up. So if you just join as a free member, you will ultimately get an offer for like a discount on your first month. So just do
I
that.
have the hiccups now, so we love you guys. Gotta go.
Bye.
Bye.